construction bond as well as a replacement levy on the February 10th, 2026 ballot. As you may know, bonds are used for facility improvements that state funding alone does not provide. Things like new buildings, modernizing aging classrooms, improving safety features, and expanding learning spaces. And a big portion of what we're asking for would help us complete major maintenance projects. The proposed bond that we're floating would authorize the district to issue up to $152,048,846 in general obligation bonds. If approved, the funding would go toward a number of critical improvements across our school district, including modernizing and expanding the Wagner Center, which you all are familiar with on Main Street. And that would be a new Sky Valley Education Center, building a new gymnasium at Frank Wagner, as well as renovating the older portions of that building, modernizing the Salem Woods Elementary gym and adding some classroom spaces to accommodate growth in the north end of our district, improving facilities for special education and early learning, enhancing safety and building infrastructure such as ADA access, fire sprinklers, and HVAC systems. And then we're also looking at upgrading our athletic fields, which would include Marshall Field, Memorial Field, and then the old Park Place ball fields. And then also we have a litany of roofing projects district-wide. I know I don't have to say this, it kind of goes without saying that the city and the schools are obviously really deeply connected. We know that strong schools also make a stronger community. And again, we're just respectfully asking you at an upcoming meeting if you would consider a proclamation of support so our voters hear a consistent message about the importance of investing in our children's futures. And thank you so much for the time and your ongoing partnership.
Thank you. Next person we have who signed up to speak this evening is Director Barnes. Director? Good evening.
All right, bring this down a little. I'm not as tall as Sean. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I'm Molly Barnes, Board Director and President of the Monroe School District Board of Directors. Thank you for letting me share a few words about the district's levy measure. Like Sean said, local support from the city has meant a lot to our schools in past cycles, and we are respectfully asking you to consider again a proclamation or resolution in support of the levy. The measure on the February 10th, 2026 special election ballot is a renewal of the Educational Programs and Operations Levy. So this is not a new levy. It continues the existing levy that will expire at the end of 2026. Levy funds pay for the day-to-day programs and services that keep our schools running well, and that state funding does not fully cover. In Monroe, over 15% of our total budget comes from levy dollars to support things like keeping class sizes reasonable by funding additional teachers, hiring and retaining essential staff like counselors, nurses, paraeducators, custodians, and safety personnel, supporting athletics and extracurricular activities, student transportation, professional learning for staff, and operations and maintenance of our buildings. If approved, the renewal would continue this support with an estimated levy rate of 1.73 per $1,000 of assessed property value beginning in 2027, which helps generate the funds our schools depend on. Without this renewal, the district would face tough decisions about reducing services that directly impact student learning and school experience. We know this council has many demands on its time and attention. You all do a fabulous job, and I appreciate every one of you. We're simply asking you to consider reinforcing our shared commitment to students by approving a supportive proclamation or resolution as you've done previously. I also want to point your attention to the handouts that we've provided for you. It gives a lot of information on here, front and back. You also can find information on our website at www.monroe.wednet.edu. I know that Sean is more than willing to field any emails that you might send his way with questions, and I'm always willing to sit down for coffee or go for a walk, Tammy, whatever it is that you might need so that you can get the information that you need. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration and continued partnership with our schools and families. It means so much to us.
Thank you. Okay, is there anybody else that wanted to provide public comment at this time? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda. And that's under announcements and presentations, item 5.1, recognition, well, that feels weird, recognition of Mayor Jeffrey Thomas. For this, I understand I'm supposed to give it over to Deborah and ask no further questions.
That sounds like something that happens all the time. Thank you. I've been asked to join all of you this evening and celebrating Mayor Thomas and his service to this community. And I believe that we are going to start with a slideshow presentation. And then, Mayor, you can join me down in front at the podium when the slideshow is over.
I thought you were going to ask me to sing. I was going to say that's a bad idea. Thank you. Thank you, Heather. At least somebody up here can.
Order. Could you start over, please?
down and join me down here in the front by the podium. It's definitely on. I always like to say that being in local government is like being on a glacier. When you're on it, it never feels like you're going anywhere or doing anything. And it's only until you turn around and look behind you that you could see that the landscape has really changed. And I would definitely say, Mayor, that that is true for the tenure that you've had here at the city of Monroe. And looking at all of those pictures and all of those memories, I'm looking around the room and I know for a fact that some of us, like me, were here for many of those events, but there are some people in this room that were actually at every single one of those events that were shown this evening during your time with the city of Monroe. So first off, I would like to invite up Shelby with Susan Delbene's, Representative Susan Delbene's office. She has something to provide to you. Mayor, I'd like you to step forward here and do very forward. Shelby wants to read the plaque that she is about to present to you along with the flag. Would you like me to lend you a hand? You've got two hands and you're trying to do three things. All right, excellent. There you go.
Hi, like Deborah said, my name is Shelby and I'm with Congresswoman Delbene's office. So I have two different things here for you, Mayor. The first one being a flag that was flown over the Capitol. And this is just for wherever you want to present it or wherever you want to keep it, but this is something special we can do in DC. Thank you very much. And then the second thing that we like to do for special occasions and for honoring people is something called a congressional record. It's usually for a person or an event that we want to honor, also known as a CR, lovingly referred to as a lot of staff. And this CR is for Mayor Thomas for his nearly 2 decades of service, public service. So I'm happy to read it for you, and then I would love to take your photo with it for the Congresswoman since she's in DC today, would love to be here, but they're trying to pass a healthcare bill. So I'm here. So Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize Mayor Jeffrey Thomas for the 18 years he has devoted to the city of Monroe. Mayor Thomas began his public service on the city council in 2004 and has served as mayor since 2014. Over the years, he has guided Monroe with steady leadership and a clear commitment to the community's vision through Imagine Monroe, a plan focused on safety, inclusion, and opportunity for every resident. Beyond his professional experience in local government and the private sector, Mayor Thomas has demonstrated a lifelong commitment to service. He has contributed as a planning commissioner in Olympia and Monroe, a scout leader, firefighter, lacrosse coach, homeowners association president, and church director. Mayor Thomas and his wife of 32 years, Laura, have lived in Monroe since 2000 and raised their 2 sons in the community he has worked tirelessly to strengthen. Mr. Speaker, I ask my colleagues to join me in expressing gratitude to Mayor Thomas for his remarkable service. His dedication has strengthened Monroe, and his legacy of leadership and community engagement will continue to inspire for years to come. I wish him the very best as he begins this next chapter of life. And this was read into the record on December 1st, and I'm happy to send you the online link if you want the full kind of the full thing. But this is for wherever you want to display, and yeah.
All right, for the photo op, because Representative Delbene is going to include this in her newsletter, along with another mayor who has recently retired. But we would like, Mayor, you to step over here so we can get a picture of you with this and with the flag in front of the City of Monroe, Washington sign. Now you feel like Shelby when she was trying to balance everything. And we have... Can we? Yes, maybe we can. Here, let me stack it up. No? Would you like? Sure, right here. Okay.
Which way are you going now?
That's not all. We wanted to ensure that both of your sons had memorabilia. So we want to present you two with this. I'll have you hold it up for me. There you go. And I will explain the items that are in here for members of the public and your adoring fans that are here with you tonight. Oh yes, did you get warned that you have to be careful with this? All right, so for the items that are in the shadow box, easy does it there, are the flags. So the flag that was flown over the Capitol will go into the corner here. It includes your gavel, your mayor's coins, the city flag that you helped design and influence, a key to the city, and Imagine Monroe. So we want to thank you. These are all of the things that I think that you used during your tenure as mayor and help influence. And so we are happy to be able to share this with you and hope that you will be able to display it proudly in your home.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. I know we gave everybody instructions with the mayor. All right, so the other items that we have then on the agenda for this evening in recognition and honor of Mayor Thomas are city council member remarks, remarks from Judge Ness, remarks from me, and then other remarks. So folks that are here this evening that want to share a few memories about their time with Mayor Thomas, the influence that he's had on the community. So followed by and ending with then remarks from Mayor Thomas. So at this point, I will turn it over to council members. Mayor, I don't know if you want to call on council members as you usually do, or if you would like to leave that up to me.
Administrator Knight, I'm leaving it up to you.
Sounds good. I will start then on this end, and we will just go along the line, starting with Councilmember Kevin Hanford.
Thank you, City Administrator. You know, Jeffrey, it's been truly a pleasure. I was trying to think of all the different things to say and to write, and I guess since I get to go first, I can say all of them, because they'll have to just say ditto. I was trying to think of words to describe Jeffrey, and the words that come to mind are a leader, brave, bold. I think of the times, geez, I'm not going to get emotional here. I think of the time there was a picture in the slideshow at Housing Hope, and this was new into your terms, and we were at the grand opening here in Monroe, and for those of you who were there, all of a sudden, right when we were supposed to start, it just was a downpour. And pretty much everybody was huddled underneath the eaves as best you could, and there wasn't much shelter. And Jeffrey, you just went right up on the steps, and all you had on was I don't even think you had a jacket.
I had a vest.
A vest, that's right. And you just spoke from the heart, and you just said, let's go. And, you know, some mayors would have searched around for umbrellas and, you know, oh my goodness, it's raining. And you just jumped up the steps and you delivered a great speech for the grand opening as the rain just totally drenched you. And you just nailed it. And I remember that was early on in your career as mayor, and I remember thinking at that, like, I like this, he's got guts. And then after that, you bought that Indiana Jones hat, I think.
Yeah.
And you never had to go out without a hat again.
There you go.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. But that's just one example. Another example is during the tumultuous times of COVID and with the marches and things that were going on around the country and the rioting and looting. And you helped us. I marched alongside of you, with you through our town to value the lives of people of color. And we stood in front of our community and said, we care. And that takes guts. when cities are being literally burned and torched. It took guts for us to walk down the streets, and I like that. And I said, that guy's got guts. I like that.
Thank you.
I think of the times more early on in your career as you were, as we were trying to work together as a new council with the new mayor, right? I think of the times that you called or texted me just out of the blue, and hey, I'm thinking of this, what do you think? What are your thoughts? And just, I appreciate that. You didn't come in with, this is my agenda, this is what we're doing, and I don't really care about you guys. There's a lot of wisdom in getting counsel from others, and you do that. And it wasn't all the time. You haven't probably done it in a while, but it was when it counted, when it really mattered, you checked in, and I appreciate that. Let's see what else I got here. The times that you've worked with, you've gone down to Olympia. You took time off of your day job and you went down and testified about 522, and that was just one of the times. But once again, you had guts and you did it. You were bold. You were a man of action. You didn't just. I would rather be a man of action and ask for forgiveness if I've done something wrong than to be someone that just sits back and ponders forever and nothing gets done. And you've done that. So I appreciate that about you. The Imagine Monroe. I mean, so many of these things in the slideshow, whoever, was that you, Jody, that did that? Sherry. Thank you, Sherry. You did a tremendous job of capturing all of these different things, and I was, so many of which I just had forgotten about over the years. And I appreciate that you have stated on a constant basis about the Imagine Monroe, the key ending line, right, where everyone feels like they belong. And that's really important in this day and age. I really appreciate that about you. I've really appreciated just the humbleness that you've led, and yeah, I'm so thankful for you and Laura for all the time. I know you've sacrificed a lot of time, and because you have a day job on top of this job, and as this city has grown and continues to grow, you've juggled it all somehow, and I admire that and I respect that. So I'm very thankful for my time serving with you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure there's any time left. Thanks for checking everything off my list. Appreciate it. I don't quite have the history that you do with Mayor Thomas. I do remember early on, before I was involved with the city in any way, shape, or form, him knocking on my door because he was running for mayor. And I believe I told him a story that he never forgot. And at that point in time, I was like, I think this guy is going to understand our city. It was refreshing to just have somebody there that I felt like I could just talk to plainly. And later on, I became a planning commissioner. So when you become a planning commissioner, you interview, or the mayor interviews you. And this is not something that I had done before. It was probably the worst interview I've ever had. As a matter of fact, I think in my interview, I called the mayor dude. So
You did.
I was like, man, this is not going to go well. but fortunately, I think that he saw something, and he did check me out. He asked some other community members, like, "Hey, what's up with this dude?" And so it was kind of nice that, maybe there were some things that were said that were nice that got me past the calling the mayor of the city I live in an interview, dude. And then he also said, I think that that's where I started, and have you ever thought about council? And I was like, there is no way. There is no way I am ever going to do that. And this just kind of goes into his knowledge base and being able to read people, is why I said that or shared that story. So I was like, there is no aspiration to ever be sitting up here with all these wonderful people. And lo and behold, here I am. That wealth of knowledge has come in so handy for me over the years. That wealth of knowledge of knowing how small government and big government works. When I am clumsily going through pulling something from the consent agenda, and he's like, hey, so you want me to just say it and you agree with it? I'm like, yeah, that would be amazing. So unfortunately, I think we're losing a wealth of knowledge of our city. And I've really enjoyed serving with you. It's been, 4 years, and then here and there on the Planning Commission, and gave me the start to actually start in Planning Commission, starting to understand small government, and willing to giving me the nod, even though I called you dude. So I do absolutely appreciate that. I think one of the biggest things for me is what we have up there, and you had mentioned it. The leading our community in a way where everybody is accepted, and everybody feels at home, and everybody feels they belong. I think that is you've done a ton of important things, you've done a ton of amazing things, but for me, that one really struck my heartstrings. It's how I feel, and to have you lead the community that way, I think is incredibly important. It will continue on, and for me, that was your biggest accomplishment, of just binding people together and letting people know that everyone is welcome here and they should all feel that they belong. So thank you, Mayor Thomas. Good luck in your future endeavors, and I hope to see you around town.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
My turn. Very nice comments. I appreciate them all, and we'll see if I can get through this. I did jot some notes down. I know that we have other people that need to speak, so I'll try and keep this brief. So I first met Mayor Thomas when he was a council member, and we were running around Lake Ty at a YMCA Fall Classic run. And I had no idea that, I don't even think I knew he was a council member. He was just out running around the lake. He ran a lot back in those days. Alara might also have been running with him. I'm not sure if you were part of that run. But later I thought, oh my gosh, that was the mayor. And I even have a picture of the two of us running around Lake Ty. So he hasn't stopped running since. I mean, my gosh, he's just done so many amazing things for the community. I am really delighted to know him as a friend as well as a colleague and my mayor. Gosh, I met him long before he became mayor, and he's known for being open, caring, accessible. Our city is forever improved with the vision statement, Imagine Monroe. That is our North Star guiding our decisions, and talk about a legacy to leave in this community. That is it. And I was absolutely delighted and proud to be a part of that committee that wrote that statement, worked on that statement over a long period. It was just absolutely wonderful, and I love that guides us into the future when we don't have you to guide us, which we will miss you terribly. The legendary speeches, Kevin was commenting on one of them in the pouring rain. There was another situation like that. I'm trying to remember. I think it was either Juneteenth or, gosh, maybe it was the Pride Festival.
It was Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, yeah. And it absolutely poured rain. It was just a downpour, thunder and lightning, and it was the same thing. I think you didn't have much on beyond just a vest, and the vest. And, it was kind of like just, hey, is that all you got? It's the same thing. He was giving a speech, and he just really got excited about it. And, you know, I think at one point you ended up taking off your jacket and throwing it down. And it was just one of those moments where you were just very passionate in your comments, and you've had many legendary speeches like that in your career as a leader. And I remember the same thing, just thinking, wow, what a cool dude. You know, I will just always be appreciative of your support of our parks and our designation as Tree City USA. Very proud of that. Was just jotting down some things. I remember going to visit the owner of the smokestack with the Chamber of Commerce director and you, and trying to convince this gentleman to let us repaint the stack. Hopefully we can get that repainted at some point, but you know, just a lot of really great memories that I have with you. You know, you're really good at recognizing talent, and you've hired and surrounded all of us with these amazing people that run our city that are so talented and kind. You know, the council, the people that serve on our boards and commissions are all absolutely fantastic people, and you're really good at surrounding us, yourself, and creating that environment of good people in the city. So that's one of your strong suits. I'd like to thank Laura and your two sons for the time that you have given up with your husband and their dad, because this is a lot of time that you have spent attending events, and I want to make sure that you know that we appreciate that, and we have not overlooked that. Thank you. And Mayor Thomas, we will always remember your contributions to our city. You will be missed, and as Kyle just said, I look forward to seeing you both around town. You're just leaving big shoes to fill, and thank you very, very much. I've so enjoyed serving with you.
Thank you, Tammy.
18 years is a very long time. The first time I voted for you was because you had a G for Jeffrey, and it was really cool. And that was for council. The first time I met you was I had just opened my store, and you may have walked across the lawn, which is a no-no, but you probably used the sidewalk. And you came in and introduced yourself and handed me your card, and I thought, whoa, what have I done? And thought I was in trouble, and it turned out it was the beginning of a friendship. And I appreciated being your friend for years. And during that time, I learned a lot from you. I was encouraged to do this kind of service, which I dreamed about since I was in high school. And I learned what to say, when to be quiet. I learned what to do, what not to do. I just really appreciate all your time. And I appreciate what I learned from you, all the lessons. So I hope that you enjoy some Tuesday nights at home. I hope you learn how to relax with your family. And thank you for your service.
Thank you, Heather.
Well, here we are close to the end, so ditto, 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 ditto. And a lot of you that know me know I don't speak very well to groups. I don't like to read out loud and a lot of things like that. But I'd like to say tonight that I appreciate Mayor Thomas for all the guidance he's given me as a young councilman, teaching me when to shut up and when to raise my hand. It's kind of old for an older, it's harder for an older guy to think like that. So now Tammy's the oldest on the council, she can do whatever she wants, so. But it's been a pleasure, and it's been an experience, believe me, just to be a councilman for 10 years and work with all my colleagues and with you. And we appreciate our new digs that you work so hard for, along with our former finance director, Becky, and the rest of the staff and our new director as well. And there's a lot of little things that you probably can't think of when you want to, but there's a bunch of them there, and you've heard a lot of it down the line, and it just, it was a pleasure for me, and I appreciate all your guidance, and I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a good time doing whatever you want to do or whatever Laura wants you to do for a while. And as Jody asked me what I was going to do with my Tuesday nights, so you're always welcome to come down and sit in the audience. If you want.
You've seen the Muppets, right?
So you're always welcome, and your guidance will always be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt.
Well, I feel fortunate. I get double time because I said comments last week because I didn't think I was going to be here. And I'm so glad that I am. We were able to catch an early flight back. But first thing, after watching the slideshow, I'm back on the wagon. Like, I weighed a lot less when we started surfing together. Look at those pictures.
You and me both. I
I'm
think
like, wait a second.
Tuesday nights I'll be on a treadmill.
Oh, like, oh yeah, holy cow. But it mean just it's so many great events, and you know the words last week about just the type of person you are. But I just wanted to focus because there was a lot of great things that were said. But looking at the slogan in Monroe, everyone feels at home and everyone feels they belong. To accomplish that as a town, you have to have a leader that creates a culture within the leadership team of the city and for its governing body for that to exist. And you, sir, have done that in spades through one of the most difficult times in our country. You've kept us out of the unbelievable partisan political bullshit. I'm sorry. And I commend you for that. And you and I have had lots of conversations on that. And you've been from both sides. Like, you know, accused of all kind, you know, this and that, and you did a masterful job of controlling your emotions, and it's hard to do when you're being attacked from both sides. And you created an environment where we could have disagreement, we could talk about issues, but every one of us felt like we were at home and that we belonged and that we had a say, and we weren't excluded from that. And that I truly appreciate. I think the city is better for it, and that is extremely hard to do. You have very high emotional intelligence. You talked, I think Councilmember Hanford brought up, like, I'd get a text or whatever. You would, after the fact, hey, how did I handle that? And I know you guys got those too. That, if you don't have high emotional intelligence, you don't get those type of texts from leaders. That just shows you were always trying to grow as a leader. You were trying to make sure that we maintained that type of atmosphere. And when you would share, man, that was really hard for me to sit on that. I really wanted to say this, but you didn't because you knew that wouldn't be conducive to the organizational health, or, you know, often in the private sector, we say culture is king. And you really did focus on it. You created an environment that helps foster that. That doesn't happen without a good leader creating the environment amongst the leadership team and staff. So I'm going to leave it there. Just thank you for all your years of service. Baseball's still king over lacrosse. Just going to say that. I'm going to miss those debates. But enjoy your Tuesday nights, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Jason.
All right, I'd like to invite Judge Ness up.
Mayor Thomas, on behalf of Monroe Municipal Court, I want to thank you for making Monroe a safe place for all. Your commitment to the court has been paramount, and I want to focus on just briefly the new court facility. Again, thank you for your vision in bringing that project to life. It is a place where compassionate justice happens. I thank you for your commitment to our therapeutic court program, where people's lives are changed, not just those that are in our program, but those in our community. Your leadership in this city has been incredible. I've learned a lot from you. It has been a pleasure to work alongside you. in city government. And I believe that your legacy as mayor will have a lasting impact on the city of Monroe. The court does have, out of personal funds, a small gift for you that I would like to present.
Did you want me to come down? Okay. I'm following directions, so.
All right, this is the opportunity for me to say a few words about the unique opportunity that I've had to work with Mayor Thomas. I have had the privilege of working very closely with him, obviously over the last 8 years, and I will try and make my comments without turning this into an agenda item, although, Mayor, I know that you would appreciate that efficiency. You have the rare quality, and I think this was recognized by council members and maybe community members as well, that you can make the job of mayor look easy. And anyone that has ever worked in local government or had to lead an organization, you well know that making it look easy is not easy at all. You think deeply about the community that you serve, about the long-term implications of the decisions that you make, and the people that are affected by those decisions. And what may appear absolutely effortless is in reality the work of your preparation, your discipline, and your genuine care for everybody in the city of Monroe. Throughout your tenure, you have remained steadfast in your ideals of equity, compassion, and service to community. During the moments of profound change and challenge, as was mentioned by Councilmember Hanford, and when emotions were running high and the path forward was not always clear, you provided the steady and thoughtful leadership. You listened and you asked the right questions, and you constantly brought us back to our shared responsibility to serve everyone in this community with dignity and fairness. Anyone that has ever sat through a council meeting knows that you also are a skilled parliamentarian. I've had to confess to Mayor-elect that I'm going to have to brush up on my parliamentarian skills. You have a remarkable ability to keep meetings efficient, orderly, and productive, even during the most complex and consequential votes. You've always been prepared, you've always been informed, and you've always been respectful of the process. From appropriations to zoning, everything in municipal government from A to Z, you have done the homework necessary to understand the broad and ever-changing range of issues that come towards us. So often we have no control over the issues that we have to deal with, and yet you have handled those with remarkable skill. You are deeply passionate about customer service and about the proper role of government. You understand and respect the separation of powers, the judicial, legislative, and executive branches. You've been a strong supporter of an independent and efficient municipal court, as mentioned by Judge Ness. And that respect for structure and process has strengthened the city and improved how we serve the public. Under your leadership, the city has achieved significant milestones. I was asked by Sherry, who put together the PowerPoint presentation, if 5 minutes was too long, and I said, well, how do you boil down 12 years or 18 years of service to the community into 5 minutes? But I think, Sherry, you did a remarkable job at highlighting all of the remarkable achievements that you have during your tenure as mayor for the city of Monroe. Under your leadership, the city has been recognized as a Tree City USA, developed the all-weather fields at Lake Ty, which, Jason, I thought for sure you were going to mention, a new vision statement, which was mentioned by every council member this evening, a new city brand and logo that's prominently displayed, and of course, this building that we are enjoying this evening. On a personal note, Mayor Thomas, I want to thank you for what I learned from you. Several people have mentioned that also this evening. You have shown me what thoughtful leadership looks like. You have been calm and principled and grounded in service, and you have demonstrated that listening is as important as speaking, and that preparation is an act of respect for colleagues, for staff, and for the community. It's truly been an honor to work with you and alongside you, and while we are celebrating your tenure as mayor for the last 12 years, your impact on this community will continue to be felt for many years to come. So please stand and join me in thanking Mayor Thomas for his extraordinary service, his leadership, and his enduring commitment to this community. And with that, we will open the microphone up to anybody who would like to step forward. We'll have an opportunity for members of the public to speak, and then for members of staff to speak, and then finally an opportunity for the mayor to close us out for this portion of our agenda. So anybody from the public like to step forward? Excellent. Well, I could put it in here if you prefer. Oh, well, then for sure. I don't want to.
Do I have to go through the whole ritual? My name is Tony Borg. I live at 17 Circle Drive, Monroe, Washington. I wasn't planning to speak tonight, so this is off the cuff, so forgive me. I wasn't sure if I was going to be here tonight. I first met Mayor Thomas in 2003. He was running for his first election. I was running for re-election. And like myself, we were out doorbelling, and our paths crossed, and we had a long conversation several times. And then I had the opportunity, we both got elected. Jeffrey Thomas sat next to me and on the city council. And I'm not going to embarrass you with some of the comments you made, the questions that you asked. But I did want to say thank you. You have done an exceptional job as mayor, which doesn't surprise me, to be quite frank. And I want to touch on something that Councilman Hanford had mentioned, and that was the ribbon cutting at Housing Hope. It was pouring rain, and Housing Hope, as many of you know, is a special place in my heart because I was a founding member of the East County chapter, the first president of the East County chapter, and wrote the 10-year strategic plan, which that ribbon cutting fulfilled our goals. It was pouring rain, as you mentioned, but what impressed me was the speech. I'm 73 years old. I've been at many, many ribbon cuttings. You caught the essence of that moment, because I remember the speech. He got up, was standing in pouring rain, and reminded us why this project was so important, because there are many people who live out in the rain all the time, without the proper clothing, who have no choices. You captured why that moment was important. And that skill I've seen to be essential in why you were successful as mayor. You captured the essence of the moment and knew where to go forward. I thank you for your 12-year service as mayor and your many years of service to this community. And again, I also say thank you to your family for supporting him. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Well, somehow it's been 3 years since I've stood at a podium in this building and said the following words. Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. My name is Rich Hebner. I am the city manager of the city of Toledo, Oregon. And the reason that I get to introduce myself with that title is that I once held the title of management analyst for the city of Monroe. You mentioned in your comments, Councilmember Beaumont, about the the staff that have had the opportunity to serve this city and be mentored by this mayor and the team that he's built, and I'm thankful to count myself as one of them. I interviewed with the city of Monroe in February of 2020, and I had to remind myself not to call the mayor dude during that interview. And a couple weeks later, I ran into, I'm gonna refer to you now as the way you told me to on my last day, which is Jeffrey, because that's how I addressed you that day. I ran into Jeffrey at our mutual day job location, and I was standing next to my boss, and I thought, oh God, don't say anything about where you saw me last week. And he didn't. He played it completely cool. And that's how you have served this community all these years. You have been cool as a cucumber. You've tackled issues in a bipartisan manner. You've always done, and you have taught your team to always lead with what is in the best interest of the community. And that may not always be the most popular decision, but as long as what you are doing, the decisions that you're making is in the best interest of the community, then you can't be wrong. Just one example I'm gonna give, because I don't want any of my former coworkers to give me a hard time about being verbose. But when I started, it was April 1st, 2020, and we all can remember what the world was like that day. I think I met Ben in the parking lot, and he set down a bag with my laptop and my cell phone and the instructions for the VPN, and stepped back 6 feet so I could pick up my bag and said, go home. That was how I started with the city of Monroe. And one of the first projects that I was given was to manage the federal funds that were coming out for COVID relief. And watching this mayor lead this city through that unprecedented time in the world, and doing so without having to lay off a single staff member, but not having to take a single dollar of those funds for operations. You put me in charge of getting those funds out into the community, and you told me I want every single dollar out in the community. And we created grant programs that were open to businesses, nonprofits, individuals, and that was your vision. And that's how I got the opportunity to watch you lead for 2.5 years, was always what is in the best interest of the community. And I have gone forward in my career, and I've been entrusted now as the appointed head of a municipal government, and I have taken the lessons that I learned here in Monroe and try to pay those forward every day. I thank you for the opportunity to learn from you, to serve this community alongside you and your team, and just wish you all the best, as everyone else has, in your future Tuesday nights off. Thank you to you, Laura, to your family, for all the dedication to this community. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
My name is Steve Groger, a resident of Monroe. I know this is going to be hard to believe. Since 1960. So I've seen quite a few mayors come and go. I remember how I got involved with Jeffrey, and what I want to say is not so much about specific leadership events that he helped create along with the council. It's more a recognition of the person. I met Jeffrey through Laura, having coffee. And at the time, I wasn't real happy with the way things were going in the city of Monroe. And so Jeffrey and I started talking about his vision, his imagining Monroe, before that slogan was developed. Or maybe that's when it was developed. I was in outside sales for 40-some years. And in that capacity, you have to be able to size people up rather quickly. And right away, I saw a true leader. I remember Jeffrey going over his plans for the city, his plans to attack his campaign, and how he'd broken down the city, and he was going to go doorbelling here and there. And that we sat along with Jim Honeycutt, former council member Honeycutt, And what I saw in Jeffrey at the time was it brought me back to when I was a child and we moved to Monroe. And I had the good fortune, and I didn't know it at the time, moved in next door to a fella by the name of Alan Borlin. And we know that name around town. Alan became a friend, a mentor, a father figure to me. It was crushing when he passed away. What I saw in Jeffrey were traits that I saw in Alan. I know leadership. I could tell leadership when Alan would sit down on his carport with a beer, very often, and a steady stream of city officials, important pillars of the community, would stop and converse with Alan, want his ideas on this, that, and the other thing. And for those of you that didn't know Alan, he was a beloved instructor at the high school. He was the FFA advisor. He was a council member and, of course, mayor for a time. Earlier this evening, Jeffrey walked several of us back through conference rooms, and I saw all the mayors, and I thought, geez, from my little end of town, we've had a lot of good people come. Grace Kerwin, Gordon Tierney, Alan Borlin, and of course I knew Jack Law. What I saw in Jeffrey prompted me to get out along the street and wave signs, a thing I'd never done for a campaign, contributed to a campaign, something I'd never done, wrote a letter to the editor, and I invoked Alan Borlin's name. I said, I saw in Jeffrey what I recognized in Alan. And then I thought to myself, don't you dare let me down. Yes. And I got the blessing of his daughters at the time. All three were still with us. And Jeffrey, what I want to say to you now is the leadership, integrity, professionalism you brought to the city that I saw in you in our conversations, I wasn't disappointed. And if I could be permitted, I think if Alan could come down right now, knowing him as I did, he would say, well done, young man. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Steve.
I will do my best. I am so thankful for you, Jeffrey. You had the courage to lead during times of difficulty. But what I want to say is, and a lot of you have said it, my greatest memory really is in the rain. You talked about it, Kevin. You talked about it, Jason. That's when I knew there was something special that he was going to do for our community and for our family. Well, yes, it's a sacrifice to have an elected official. He made it easy. It never felt like I was married to a mayor, really, or that my kids had a mayor as a father. That was just a thing that he did, mostly on Tuesday nights and maybe, a couple hours here and there. But I'm thankful because you've made so many changes in this city. The projects, of course, that were so meaningful to me and to my family, the turf fields. My kids were mud-filled. We ruined so many cleats and so many of everything. When we got those fields, I was like, this is the next generation. We're growing up in this community. So thank you for that. One of my projects that I really wanted to see, although I had no real influence, but I'm like, hey, if you can make it happen, let's do it. The lights on the backside of Lake Ty Park, because that's about safety, right? And I think that's important. And so that was a project that was really important. Of course, you guys know I'm a planner. So anything that he could do to make Monroe. More
Point of order.
More beautiful, like the public art, the signage, even the improvements to downtown, and all the support that he's given to the chamber, to the Rotary. But at the end of the day, it's the colleagues. It's you at the dais. It's you over there, the staff members. I haven't heard a lot about public safety, but one of Jeff's greatest joys really is public safety. You guys know that? It's his day job now. And so he's doing something that he loves, and he will carry that legacy forward. You guys will see this for a generation, I think, or more, all the things that he's done. I am grateful for that. But I do want to read something. And Mr. David Hose gave Jeff a copy of this. And it's just an excerpt. We'll see if I can get it open. I've got to take my glasses off and then put them on. And we have it hanging in our house. It's called The Man in the Arena by Theodore Roosevelt. Many of you might know this. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the door of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. So at this place shall never be those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. I can't imagine a better poem for you, Jeffrey. I'm grateful for your service. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to speak this evening? I think you're up next.
So for those of you that do not know this, I have known Mayor Thomas as Jeffrey, as my friend, and my coworker's husband. I worked with Laura for over 20 years in Duval, so I forgive you for saying the wrong words, because I probably would have done the same. Before I interviewed for this job, I had the honor of swearing you in as for your final term as mayor, which was really cool. I want to say thank you for your belief in me to hire me, and your trust in me as your clerk these last 4 years, and for not being mad whenever I have to interrupt you during a meeting. You lead with conviction, compassion, and your whole heart without being overly emotional, and I really appreciate that. My only regret is that we could not get you those sharks with freaking laser beams. I am so sorry.
How could we have forgotten about that moment? I said, how could we have forgotten about that moment? All right, anybody else who would like to say a few words? Great, Liam?
Thank you, and I'll keep my remarks brief, but Mayor Thomas, I just wanted to say, about a year and a half ago, I was a naive college student wondering what I was going to do with myself in the world, and after our interview, for whatever reason, you and Deborah decided to hire me, and I just wanted to say it has been an honor watching you work. It has been an honor receiving the knowledge that you have given me and your mentorship over these last few years, and I just wanted to say that your leadership that I have observed has made me a better professional in my work now and has made me a better human being. So I just wanted to briefly say thank you for everything you have done for this community and also connecting with me as a human person. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right. Well, thank you, Mayor Thomas, again for all of your leadership. It is, I think I can hardly wrap my mind around the fact that this is your last official meeting and our last official meeting together. And I know that I may be speaking for several people in this room when I say that you will be greatly missed when you step back, and that we have openings for our board and commissions if you're interested. Thank you.
Thank you. My turn? Yes. Okay, cool. So first, thank you, everybody, for the comments. And I hope each one of you knows that no one person can make the change for a community to come together, to be productive, to create that sense of belonging. And it has been a real blessing for me to, through my life, and a lot of you have heard me say this before, the way that I try to lead, the way that I try to do things, the way that I try to coach, the way that I try to live my life is, okay, insert bad dad joke here, is to be like mayonnaise and bring out the best in others and ask that they bring out the best in you. Okay, I should run for another term if you hadn't heard that one yet. The thing is this, is that I used that when I was coaching kids in lacrosse. You know, I realized that when I studied theology for about 5 years between council and mayor, and also coached lacrosse. And I'm deeply committed to each one of us having talent, so each one of us being made, and I'm sorry I'll be a little religious here in a government setting, and I apologize for that ahead of time, but I strongly feel committed that each and every one of us is made in God's image, and each and every one of us has different talents and different gifts. It's just up to us, each one of us, to try to find those gifts and find those talents and find those callings in the people that we encounter. That is truly what generates that sense of belonging, that sense of inclusion, when you realize, and I realize I'm going to say diversity next, when you realize the diversity of who we are as a human species, when you realize the diversity of the gifts that God has given us, you need to help people realize those gifts. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're forsaking the gifts that God has given each and every one of us. You know, the greatest gift I think that I can have is to witness the gifts that other people have, to see them succeed, to help them pull those areas of growth out and just see them shine. And for me, you know, I think about what Liam said. Zach has also come through here. Rich, one of the things that I remember early on was that there would be people that would express an interest in growing professionally, and not always did we have a place for them to go. There was not always a promotional opportunity. And for me, I wanted to make certain that while people were working here, that they had that ability to grow, and they had that ability that even if they couldn't get promoted here and do what they wanted to here, I wanted other communities to know that you could get the best staff from the city of Monroe. I want to keep you, but I also want to make certain that you're growing when you're here. And you may grow into something different. I started off as a city planner, and today I'm the chief of staff for the King County Sheriff's Office. How did a planner end up doing what I do for a living today? You know, I want people to realize the gifts they have, and I want people, you know, and I want to witness those gifts that God has given each and every one of us. And that's one of the things that I've really tried to do. Somebody spoke about how, you know, you capture the moment. I think that was you, Tony. You know, capturing the moment. One of the reasons why, and it freaks me out, I'll tell you this, it freaks me out. I go to, Liam, thanks for all the speaking notes that I never used. But I go to a lot of events, and I think a lot of you know that I just speak from the cuff. You know, what I do is I seek inspiration in the moment. I try to read the room. I try to understand what's going on. I just try to sense what's going on and just try to add to the best of my ability. And today, here in this moment, the thing that I would like each and every one of you to realize is that each and every one of you has gifts within yourselves. Do me this favor. I'm not here serving as mayor anymore in 15 days. just bring your gifts here to council. Let them shine. You know, the song, "This Little Light of Mine, I'm gonna let it shine." It's also those gifts that you have. Try something new. Try something courageous. Go out and stand in the rain and just see where life takes you. See where God puts your feet, where your calling is, and do it from a place of love. Be humble in the moment. Be fair. Be kind to one another. I was interviewed yesterday by the Tribune. He asked me about belonging, and you know, what I told him was, look, you know, it's Cheers, right? Everybody just wants to go, they want to be norm. You just want to show up where everybody knows your name. And whether, to me, I find that in my religious studies, you see it on TV. Heck, I even mentioned Star Trek yesterday. I don't know how that article is going to come out, but I talked about Data and I talked about Spock and the whole thing about exploring the human condition and just wanting to belong. I think fundamentally that's all we want to do, is we want to belong, and we want to make certain that those of us serving in positions of leadership are not putting false idols, partisanship, and other things ahead of the human being in front of you. And I think that that's the one thing, that spark, just about every Christmas movie that you see out there, just putting that spark of life, of love, of helping the human being in front of you, and hoping that they will help you also. To be like mayonnaise, bring out the best in others, and hope they bring out the best in you. To my council members, I have gone ahead and I've written cards because I realized that going through everybody, this took an hour and 15 minutes. I've gone ahead and I've written many thank you cards. I'm just going to go ahead and hand these down. Council members, each one of you has a Mayor's coin in here. It has on the back the words that have sort of guided me. They include compassion and humility on the backs. And so I'm just going to go ahead and pass these on down. So if you just pass those down to your colleagues, I'd appreciate it. Kirk, I gave you one last week. Kirk, you're going to get another one, but it's Liam decided we're going to call it the vintage one, right? Oh, and Jason, you're going to get a vintage one also. Yes, remind me of that. Kevin, and then Jake didn't make it, which is okay. I know he was traveling today. Council members, every one of you brings different skills, different experiences, different talents to the council here. And I just ask that as you move forward, continue to bring those to council. Being inquisitive, having questions, really continuing to think about the implications of the decisions, and always, always, always put the community first. As Kevin talked about, he was talking about my agenda at one point in time. I came here with service in mind, serving others before self. That was the goal. And so I just ask that each one of you just keep that in your hearts and move forward with that. As I was making notes here, a couple of you mentioned me not being here. You have all the answers within yourself. Now I'm feeling a little bit like Harry Potter in the hat there. Oh, it's all here. You know, all the gifts are there. You all are going to do great. And one of the reasons why I chose not to run for a fourth term is that I feel that for a community to succeed, people in positions of leadership need to step back so that other people can step forward, so that growth, that development can continue in a community and it doesn't stagnate. And so I'm going to have confidence that all of you will find your new stride, and everything will go really well, because I feel that that's how we're leaving things here today. I ask you, I know that I'm into protocol and everything and separation of powers and everything. I encourage you to remember what your role is at council, the policy, the budget. You get a lot done when you focus on your area. Your mayor should do the same thing. Every once in a while, talk about policy and budget, but for the most part, it's implementing policy and budget. And the same thing with our judicial branch. I find that things work really efficiently when you try to focus on your segment, your role in government. And so I ask each of you to consider that as you continue to grow in your roles. To the staff, you all are awesome. We did an enormous amount of work both with you and also people who have served before you. And this council and I and our community would not be nearly as successful as we are today if it had not been for your tremendous talent and experience, for your compassion and love that you bring to the job every single day. I know that I've spoken with a number of you, sometimes at weird hours of the day, and you've listened to me, allowed me that time to get things off my chest and just make certain that it helped sort of center me for the day or for the decision. And I am eternally grateful for all of that you did to help counsel me, help me understand what it was that we had as options to present to the council on different things, and truly made us successful. Deborah, I have cards for SLT also. Jody, can you? Deborah, a lot of the work that we've done, especially over the last 8 years, has been squarely on your shoulders and also on the SLT. And I'm so grateful, also so thankful for everything that you've done. As most people know, I have a regular day job and I get up early. And there were times where I would talk to her on my way into Seattle before 6 a.m., including on a Wednesday after a Tuesday night meeting. And please thank Jim for me. But you are extremely talented. You consider the impacts of the decisions both thoughtfully but also from the heart. That is extremely important to me, and I think it helps us with the balance in the decisions and the recommendations that we bring to the council. So thank you very much for that. Sweetheart, I love you so very much. You have been my partner in all the work that I've been able to do here. You've been my confidant at home. You've been my inspiration for a lot of things, including lights on the west side of Lake Ty. But you've been my inspiration and partner in a lot of what we have been able to do here in this community. You were the inspiration and the help for me to run for mayor 3 times. You helped me think through things and feel through things as we brought forward recommendations to the council. And I am so thankful for everything that you've provided over since I met you in 1989. And certainly my service as mayor. So I love you so very much and I thank you. And I have a card for you too. So. Jody, can you give your friend and my wife her card? It's got a big check. Okay, and there's one more card here. Judge Ness, I've got a card here for you as well. So, Jody, can you give that to her also? Thank you. All right, so again, council members, community members who've spoken, a lot of you were there to support me. A lot of you were there to provide counsel and advice also. So just to make things clear, my name might be mayor, my position might be mayor, but I think to Steve's point, a good mayor is somebody that sits on a carport with a beer and talks to lots of people. So listen to the input of others, and a lot of you who are here this evening have done that with me, and I so greatly appreciate it, including you, Sparky. And you, Katie, you stood in the rain that day too. I asked you to come up the stairs, and remember I asked you to consider putting the umbrella down, and you said, really? And you did. So, all right. So thank you very much, everybody. And I feel truly blessed, and thank you from my heart. All right. Thank you again. We're going to go ahead and move into the rest of our agenda this evening. So I think we've got a consent agenda and one new business item, and then some comments at the end. Yes? Okay. Thank you, I'll do that. All right, let me pull the... All right, so we're going to flip over to consent agenda, item 6, and we are going to pull item 6.9. This is a resolution 028-2025 confirming the mayor's declaration of emergency. So I'm requesting council's consideration to approve the consent agenda items 6.1 through 6.8.
Point of order, Mayor.
Yep.
I believe we skipped the public comments.
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Gamble to approve the consent agenda items 6.1 through 6.8. Any
Hanford
discussion on the
seconds.
motion?
Second.
Oh, yeah, I'd like a second. That sounds
Second.
good. Second from Councilmember Hanford. All right, any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. And before I go too much farther, please let the record show that Councilmember Walker had mentioned to me last week that he may be late or may miss this evening's meeting, so unless there's objection, we'll consider his absence as excused. Seeing no objection, we'll continue. Item 6.9, Administrator Knight.
Thank you. The item in front of you this evening, Resolution 028-2025, is confirming the mayor's declaration of emergency, and staff is requesting that we make one addition to that declaration that I will read into the record, and it says, I hereby further direct that for the duration of this declared emergency arising from the December 2025 flooding event beginning on December 11th, 2025, City of Monroe employees who are directly impacted by flooding, evacuation orders, road closures, or other disaster-related conditions may utilize accrued paid sick leave in lieu of vacation leave when they are unable to report to work or perform their normal duties as a result of the emergency.
Okay. So what we're looking for then is a motion to approve the resolution, and then to have, because we can't do just so moved, right?
Yes, and I forgot to read in the second half of that.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's more.
The second half,
Okay,
sorry.
there's more.
This authorization is intended as a temporary measure to support employees affected by the flooding event and shall apply only for absences reasonably related to the emergency impacts. Employees may be required to provide reasonable documentation of the emergency impact consistent with city policy. Nothing in this directive is intended to expand paid sick leave use beyond the period of this declared emergency or create a permanent change to city leave policies.
Okay. So before somebody says anything, what I'd like to do is just go ahead and read a potential motion into the record, and Sherry or Jody, you can let me know if this doesn't work. So if you want to approve that with the language that was just added, I would recommend this. I move to approve resolution number 028-2025, confirming the mayor's proclamation declaring a state of emergency in the city of Monroe with the additional language that the city administrator just read into the record. Would that suffice? Okay.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Hanford, a second from Councilmember Gamble, as I just read into the record. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you, everybody. Next item on the agenda then is councilmember reports. So we'll go ahead and start on this side this time. Oh, wait, there's a new business item,
Yes, one new business item.
right? Okay, did we need to, so the agenda that I have before me does not have the new business item on it. Is the published agenda, does it have that? No, that's why we need a vote to add something to the agenda. Okay, I'm missing that then. Copy that. All right, I'm looking for a motion from council for request action 1 and 2 shown on the screen. Councilmember Gamble.
I move to add an item to the agenda under new business heading.
Second.
I have a motion from Councilmember Gamble, a second from Councilmember Hanford for requested action number 1 shown on the screen. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Councilmember?
I move to waive council rules of procedure requiring 2 readings of an ordinance.
Second. I have a motion from Councilmember Gamble, a second from Councilmember Scarborough for the requested action number 2 shown on the screen. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Did you want, okay. Requested action number 3.
I move to approve ordinance 02-2025, authorizing a temporary waiver of building permit fees for the repair and replacement of structures damaged by the December 2025 flooding event, declaring an emergency, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date and an automatic expiration date.
Second. I have a motion from Councilmember Gamble, second from Councilmember Hanford. I almost threw off names. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda then is Councilmember reports. We'll start off with Councilmember Gamble. Councilmember Gamble.
No report, just happened to be here and be able to participate in your send-off.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Scarborough.
Ditto.
Ditto.
No report.
Councilmember Fulcher.
As usual, very impressed with our staff who have dealt with the flooding aftermath and actually the continuation. I just want to wish everybody well in this disaster time. And again, I'm thankful for everyone who stepped in and did more than their usual jobs.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. Councilmember Beaumont.
Thank you, Councilmember Fulcher. Absolutely agree. I know a lot of our staff have been working very, very hard to make sure everyone is safe, and our city is minimally impacted. I know it's required a lot of meetings outside of your normal work hours, and I've been very proud to say I'm a council member here, knowing that I have the backing and support of so many of you, people that aren't here too. So just want to thank you so much and extend my wishes to those affected by this flooding and aftermath. I did want to say one thing about that. I had an opportunity to go to the Monroe Community Band concert on Saturday afternoon, and it was at Frank Wagner Auditorium. And because of everything going on, it was a very moving experience. These are volunteer musicians that play for free. People came in hordes. I couldn't even find a parking spot. And I'm sitting in there listening to this beautiful Christmas music played by these volunteer musicians. And families were coming in with children with Santa hats on, all dressed up. And I looked around and I thought, this is our community. We're going through really hard times. It's challenging. People are displaced. People are working hard. And we're sitting here listening to Christmas music, celebrating. It was just this magical moment of community unity where I was just overwhelmed by this city and the people in it, and the fact that we were celebrating the Christmas spirit and holiday, listening to beautiful music amid all of this destruction that's going on and still coming together as a community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Fisher.
Yes, same thing. Thank you to staff and working long hours and putting things together, making sure emergency management was running good. Absolutely appreciate it. It's needed when we go through things like this. Even though the fire department is not part of city staff, also a shout out to them for their preparations and bringing in people around our state and country legislators that got to see exactly what we were going through. So I appreciate that, and thank you again to staff for all of your hard work. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilmember Hanford.
Thank you, Mayor. Ditto to everything you all said. I am really hoping that staff, you enjoy, wish you all a very Merry Christmas, and hope you enjoy some time with your families, and that you experience the peace during this season. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. All right, and we have a staff report, department report. Human Services report. It's in your packets. So if you have any questions for the report, go ahead, Councilmember Fisher.
Sorry, I forgot something, and I'm going to need some of your knowledge on how to go through with this. How do we go through with the request from the school for the bond or the levy?
So what I would propose is this, is that it sounds like the election is in February. what I'll do is have staff go ahead and research what would be needed for the council to consider adopting something.
Okay.
I recall doing this twice in my tenure. The first time we did something, we ended up having a public hearing where people came in and spoke in favor and against the proclamation. It was a proclamation or that the council adopted. And the second time, I don't remember doing that, so I don't know what was different between the two or what may have changed between the two. And so, Deborah, if we could just have you work with Zach or somebody else work with Zach just to figure out what it is that council would need to do. It'll be subject, of course, to your incoming mayor, unless I have two council members who would like to see it. Do
I
have two
would
council
support
members?
that.
There you go. Okay. So by having two council members who would like to see it on the agenda, it'll appear on an upcoming agenda. Is it something that we think that we could have ready for January 13th? So having two council members say that they'd like it, even if the incoming mayor is not interested, it will appear on the next agenda on January, was it 13th? Look at that. I even know that date. I don't need to, do I? Okay. All right. Does that work?
Yep, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. All right, anything else from the council? Okay, and then the Human Services report is in your packets. Any questions on the Human Services report? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the City Administrator report. Thanks for using two L's and canceled, by the way. Thank you very much. All right, City Administrator's report.
Just a reminder about the Association of Washington City Action Days. We actually met with the Legislative Committee and will be returning to council on the 13th with an update and some options for council to consider. And then just a shout out, several council members have already mentioned this, but I also want to add my thanks to Chief Jolly and to Jacob Roberts, Kevin Teague, and to Rachel Adams, others from the Chief's Command staff, court, fire, everybody that was involved with the Emergency Operations Center. It's not something that we do frequently. We do practice occasionally, but we don't have to actually all come together and manage an event like we did this last week. And as several people mentioned, there were times when we were working kind of early mornings and late nights in order to ensure that we were monitoring the situation. So my appreciation out to everybody that was involved in the EOC and was out monitoring city streets and surrounding areas on behalf of our community.
Thank you very much, Deborah. All right, my last mayor's report. So Monroe this week is there in your packets. I think we're going to have one more Monroe this week. It'll be this coming Friday. Is that correct? We'll just do one more. Okay. The last week or so has been very busy with flooding on my day job, but also here with the city. I went ahead and took part in an EOC meeting with the city on Wednesday evening and got some information as to what we were looking at. Then Thursday, I was here in town Thursday and Friday. Came into City Hall EOC on Thursday morning, worked with staff. Staff did a really great job of coming up with potential scenarios and then working with the Public Works Department at Snohomish County to get more precise numbers on what we were to expect coming from the west after the flooding had already gone through the Skycomish and the Woods Creek portion of our river system. So I was very happy, very thankful to hear that the water was not being modeled to go over Frylands Boulevard, but I also have confidence that the staff was prepared to take actions as might have been needed, including providing notice to the industrial park in Frylands if it had gone over Frylands Boulevard. So I understood there were a number of questions from the council, and so for those of you that were able to make it at 12:30 on Thursday, thank you. I think that just like Deborah mentioned, this isn't something we do a lot. And in my living here in Monroe, but also serving as mayor, the flooding that we had was similar to what we've had about two other times. Of course, this time it was higher, but impacted terrace apartments and also impacted the Monroe Motel. But it was new, looking at the potential that backfilling and coming up from the west. So anyway, I think it was a good practice for us to, a good actual doing. It wasn't just practice, implementation of getting people together and everything. And I think that talking a little bit to Councilmember Fisher on Saturday, I think that there's some good learning lessons about making certain that we're doing things to keep the council informed and allowing for meetings like we had on that Thursday last week, so we can sit down and just talk things through. As I was mentioning before, you've got that separation of powers, and the EOC is an executive function, and so your function as council members is policy and budget, but it's also that community input. And if you're hearing questions and things like that, especially things that the executive branch may not be hearing, it's good for you to share those with the mayor, the city administrator, so that we can then inform the EOC process. So I think that's one of the things that I'm going to recommend is, after talking to Councilmember Fisher, is maybe next year when you do a shakeout every year, right? There's a shakeout. Maybe next time you do a shakeout, it would be good to try to engage the council and have that policy EF, there's a number, and letters, have that set up so that they get some experience about what it means to work on the shakeout and everything like that, so they get some experience with that. The EOC doesn't usually get activated, but when it does, I think it's good for everybody to know what to do. So, with all that said, thank you very much to the staff. Chief, thank you for everything you did with leading that, and Jacob, thank you for everything your team was doing. It was really cool seeing everybody just kind of run calculations and thoughts about where the stormwater is going to go. Kevin, thank you for everything you were doing with the parks and the comms and everybody else. So anyway, that was for last week. Lastly, thank you all very much for serving with me these 12 years, a couple of you, and for the number of years you all have served with me. I've really enjoyed doing this. It's really felt like a blessing to be able to see everything that we've been able to get done. Thank you. Unless there's objection, I think I'm going to end it on that.
Sounds good.
Okay, we're going to go ahead.
Your last gavel.
Yeah, you want to come over here and gavel it with me?
I did it
Oh, you did it last week.
You get to do it.
You don't need a 5-hour executive session?
No 5-hour executive session. Council members, it's been a pleasure, and we are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Oh!